Okay, hey everybody. It's Tuesday, May 20th already. May is almost over.
I know.
I don't even know what's happening. Life just really, really fast. Um, yeah, you're here at the weekly community call for chaos. Really great to see our friends here today. You all know this, but it is part of the chaos code of conduct. So just keep that in mind. Everybody already knows that. Um, Oh, broken link on the agenda on the calendar invite. We might have an outdated one because I think I have updated everything across the board, but I'll just drop it in here in case anybody needs it. Yeah, let me share my screen. There we go. Yes, I'm with you 1,000% people who are saying no way to skydiving. There's no way. No, you couldn't pay me enough money. Nope. Absolutely. But I think that's funny because some people are like, oh yeah, heck yeah, like their adrenaline just built
Yeah,
different than I'm built, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, not a chance.
my bucket
Mm,
list to do. I can't wait to do it.
yeah, Ruth, you and I. I'll
I
be at
would
the bottom.
I would break an ankle or a leg or something. I'm just entirely too clumsy for stuff that requires landing.
Yeah, right.
I'm just thinking of like standing on the plane with an open door and like now you have to go out that door. Like, no, that's not what humans are meant to do. We're not meant to
I,
be up that high.
yeah, I think I recently did zip lining. Oh my God, I was so scared. But like the adrenaline was not so much. That's why I want to do the skydiving or bungee jumping because like that one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Not either. I would
No,
never do.
I've done the zip line. That's not very scary.
Bungee jumping though,
Oh, zip line.
yeah.
That's not.
Zip lining is very different. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that.
I,
Georg, what was that like?
it was a lot of fun. So I was not planning to go skydiving. I was visiting my sister who was studying abroad, and she and a friend had booked this through some Groupon, whatever. And I just came along to watch them jump out of the airplane. And while we were going through the training, they said, "Hey, we still have a seat open. Do you want to go up?" I was like, "I guess." And so, in the spur of a moment, I went up in the airplane, and half an hour later, we were jumping down, and it was breathtaking. The view as you're coming down, and the earth is coming closer, and everything starts getting bigger, is quite the experience. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything. As I was falling, it was like crushing me. But then once the parachute opened and we're just gently getting down, it was wonderful.
Wow. You didn't even plan it. I'm floored by that. What the heck?
It's
Spur of
probably
the
more
moment.
that way. That's probably more likely. If spur of the moment. But if you have time to think about it, you might be like,
I would not have scheduled it. I would not have booked it.
yeah.
Yeah, the only way it's happening is if someone shoves me out that door. So yeah,
Yeah.
because there's no way.
With bungee jumping, though, I'm more afraid that I'll hurt myself when on impact. Like, no.
Yeah, that seems, yeah, it's more sketchy. I don't know.
Any like Jesus take the wheel kind of thing. I'm like, no.
Literally, if it's your time, it's your time. I
Uh,
guess. I don't want to help that along. Like it's gonna have to be like a tree falls on me on my couch or something like something. I don't know. Ruth, we want to hear all about it. When you do it, you're gonna have to report back.
Right. Oh.
Okay, all right. So let's go on to our agenda. This I've posted several times, but we did switch this over to GitHub. So if you want to see what it looks like it's here. And you can read all about it. There's Callie. Hi, Callie. Community reminders, that's about it. So yeah, people can comment on it if they want. We do have a way to subscribe to it. You have to have a feed reader, but you can subscribe here, a couple of different feeds. And Chris was helpful in helping me kind of troubleshoot some stuff. So thank you, Chris, wherever you might be. So yeah, there's that. That's exciting. It was so much easier. It was so much easier.
Really good.
I mean, yeah, it was so good. Like I should probably talk to Mary Blessing about it, but I mean, there's a chance we could go back to the weekly because it was so easy. I mean, it was fantastic. So thank you for all being patient and yeah, just supporting me in my mission to make my life easier.
That is a good mission.
It was a good, very good mission. I was very happy on Friday. We do have this form here if you want to submit for nominate somebody for Chaotic of the Month. That would be great. We're always looking for new folks, new faces to highlight. And if you have something you want to add to the newsletter, we have an issue template here, which you can do that and just tell us what you want to put in and we'll do that. So there you have it. Boom. Like we didn't even have that really any before, like a way to like get it into the newsletter easily. So yeah, this is great. In my personal humble opinion, which is completely biased towards myself, it's great. Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Oh, I did want to point out, I think we can see, some of us can see maybe traffic to the discussions. It's not great because it only goes to the total discussions. So I don't know if I can get it to, oh yeah, I can right here. Okay. So I can see how many views we have, which we could also do in WordPress, but this is also nice to have it right here, easy.
Right.
Yeah. And anybody who has maintainer access on this repo can also see that. So it's not just like me having to log into the WordPress backend and finding it somewhere. So yeah, there we go. Any other questions or comments or anything? Okie dokie. Quick update on, thanks, John. Quick update on OSS-NA. I did fill out the, or open up the spreadsheet. I can communicate today. The spreadsheet on OSS-NA booth assignments. So if you want to grab a slot, you would just put your name like Laura's done here. There are 2 people per slot. Person 1, person 2, doesn't matter. They're both the same. Person 1 doesn't have any more responsibilities than person 2. So those are the open slots. I will fill in any of the gaps. So no worries there, because that's my full purpose for really being at OSS-NA. I am giving a talk on the very last day on the very last slot, which is like the 3rd time that OSS-NA folks have done that to me, but I actually really like that slot. It's like low pressure, you know, it's like, whatever. So it's all good, but I won't be able to pack up the booth till after that. But so if you wanted to stick around and help, totally fine, but none needed there. It's pretty easy. So that is there. We also have a Slack channel, which would be great if you add your name there or join that channel, just so we can communicate with you, with everybody at the same time. If there's anything that you need to know with regard to the conference stuff. I also did verify that if you are a speaker, you can also have access to the exhibit hall like on off hours, because I was a little bit worried about that, like them not letting me in. So I did verify that with them. So anybody who is a speaker, if you wanted to come help set up or whatever, or get there early, you can do that. At least that's what they told me. So we'll see. We are also working on a new banner for the booth. The other one has served us very well, but died a slow and painful death at scale the last time. So we're going to replace it with a new design. We had also gotten some feedback on just, you know, the fact that it didn't say literally anything about what CHAOSS is or does on the sign. So I would, every single time, I would always get that comment. So we're going to try to remedy that and make a few other quick
table banner or the pop-up or both.
Sorry, the pop-up
Okay.
banner thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yep. It was like always falling over.
Yeah, it's always falling over. And then it started to like rip at the top. And so, yeah, at scale, I just decided to not pay for the trip home. So it's still in LA in a garbage, probably landfill somewhere,
At least it's
representing
sunny.
us. Yeah. Because I have to check that as a separate luggage.
Yeah, you're like,
So it's like, whatever it is to check a bag plus, I don't know, it's kind of a pain.
did you already order one?
No, we're working on the design still. Once we get it done, it doesn't take
Okay.
long to get it. Yeah, Kingsley and the design team are working on that. A few people have added some, I don't know if this will pull up, but have added some comments. So if you go there, you can add your own feedback. If you see, like, I have an idea or something that needs to be updated a little bit differently, feel free to drop it in that Slack thread. Because I am not a designer. So thank God for Kingsley and his crew.
Okay.
We do have 32 registrations so far for CHAOSScon, which is exciting because it's still pretty far out. Like it's, there's a few weeks left. So that's pretty good. Looking at the folks who are going to be there, it's really good. A lot of kind of high powered folks there. So that'll be exciting. That'll be great. Oh, I'm so glad you put this in here. I'm guessing it was you, Dawn, because I was going to ask your group if we should be mentioning it, but you didn't put this in here.
I put it in there.
You did. Okay.
Well,
All
and
right.
now we're mentioning it. So asking whether we should mention it is a moot point because here it is.
So yes, Chan is working on that. So she is going to reach out to you, Elizabeth, to talk about how we can best do things like registration. She's working on a little flyer to promote it. So we will promote it to the CHAOSS community. She's also going to promote it to the students at the university where they're giving us some space. So if any of the students, data science students, want to attend, they're also more than welcome. So yes, we will promote this, and we've talked about also if there's enough interest doing it as some kind of hybrid event where we have other people remotely working on maybe some of the hackathon projects. So Chan is going to run this. So she's kind of the driving force behind it. And we should have more details soon. So those will be posted. I think she'll probably post the flyer and the registration link in the data science working group channel. So if anybody's not already joined that channel and are interested in participating, I would encourage you to do that. And then I'm sure we can bring it back into this meeting as well once we have more details.
Don, do you know if Chan wants this on the website to go on the CHAOSScon page? It's like a kind of like an add-on-ish kind of thing or anything. I can also do a separate page for it on the website, like whatever. Or do we not want to I know there was some concern about the limited space of the room that we have. So there was you didn't want to put it out, but I'm happy to put it out on LinkedIn or on the website or whatever. Makes sense.
I think we're gonna promote it a little bit more. So yeah, so I would encourage you to maybe just sync up with Chan on that. Because she's gonna want to talk to you about the registration anyways. But
Okay.
I think we can probably put it on the CHAOSScon web page.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't really have the details as far as the venue and all that. So I will get all of that from Chan and figure out what the best way to do that is.
Cool.
Awesome. And you don't have I think I saw in there that the agenda was TBD, right? Do you know if it's gonna be working on one thing that everybody's working on together? Is it hands-on or is it?
No, it's actually, if you go to back to the minutes doc, and go to the data science minutes, if you wanted to do that, we have a whole bunch of details there about which projects we're working on, for example. And there's a link to the hackathon agenda. So that's a draft. It's just a Google Doc. We haven't moved it into the regular thing, but we're looking at probably starting around 9, ending around 11:30 or 12-ish, so that we can have lunch and then get over to CHAOSScon. But we have a number of projects that we're scoping out. So there's a foundations moving from companies into foundations project that Sal's been driving along with the folks from CHAOSS Africa. So I think we're going to do a hackathon around that. Chan's working on the forks and relicensing stuff. She's been digging into some of the other project health metrics, and she's going to do something around that at the hackathon. I'm going to do something around active projects that have been archived, and that is going to be a no data, no programming, no special skills required, because what we're going to do is we're going to look at a big list of popular projects that got archived and see what happened. So that's going to be like looking at README files and stuff. So it's that glamorous data janitorial work that us data scientists spend, what people probably don't realize how much time we spend on those sorts of activities. But it's a legitimate thing. Like data scientists do a lot of manual work, manual cleanup. So we'll do that, and that'll be a good project for people who don't necessarily have any programming skills or statistics backgrounds. And then we're going to also ask Sean and Callie if they want to lead projects, because they weren't in the meeting, and I don't want to exclude them just because they missed a meeting. And then Peculiar and Ahiro are gonna have volunteered to lead something around the hybrid. That depends a bit on how much interest we get in the hybrid piece of the project. So that was probably more detailed than what you needed, but that's what we're looking at.
No, that was great. That's perfect. That's very exciting. I love it.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Anybody have any other questions or anything for Dawn or about CHAOSScon or OSSNA in general?
The hackathon will be great, and having it at UC Denver is really nice as well. Everything's
Yeah, we're really hoping to get some of their students involved and just get them a little more engaged, and maybe get them more engaged in CHAOSS or
Yeah.
open source efforts.
That's great.
It makes me a little bummed they're not able to attend CHAOSScon if they didn't register for OSSNA, which a lot of them probably can't afford that. Even though I know that I think there's a student rate, but still, like, that kind of makes me a little bummed that there's not an outlet for us to do that. So maybe do you think they would be willing to like come back to the social event, or, that informal, like, hey, we're just gonna be hanging out at this place?
I think we should definitely invite them once we have the location and details for the social. I think that would be a nice gesture.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
And then after
right.
the meeting today, we'll meet to discuss the schedule for CHAOSScon, right?
Yeah, that'd be great if we can do that. If people have time to do that, that'd be awesome. I would feel better because I feel like we haven't met in a while, and I'm kind of feeling a little like, oh, it's happening. Okay. Promoting CHAOSS talks at conferences. This kind of has been on my mind for a while. We're not great at this, honestly. We're pretty bad at it. We're pretty bad at it. We had a calendar that like just got buried. It's not published anywhere, I don't think. Oh, I didn't even link to the right thing. I'll have to find that link, but there is a calendar. It's just one of our team up calendars that had some people's talks on there, but like there's no good way to add things. It's like not great. So I don't know. Just put this on here as a topic to think about. Maybe for next time, if we have, if you want to take a week to think about it, that's cool. If anybody has any thoughts on it right now, that's also valid. I know it's just kind of consistently, I feel like ever since I've been here, which is almost 5 years, that's been a thing that we've been struggling with, and we never really solved it. So I don't know.
Do you prefer to promote the projects ahead of time, or do you want to just know afterwards so you can like link to the slides or the videos? What is there a preference?
Yes to both, I think. I mean, in a perfect world, yes to both for sure.
I wonder if maybe we want to, not to add one more thing to this agenda, but as a recurring item, maybe remind people and have them just list them here in the meeting minutes of upcoming presentations, because at least that way you'd be talking about it.
Mhm.
I mean, that's only good for the people that show up to this meeting, but it's something we had I would say a bit of success with around some of the CNCF groups that I was a part of, that we had a standing agenda item about what do we want to promote this week. So that was kind of our way of doing that. And in some cases it was talks, and there was a bunch of other stuff going on, but having it as a standing agenda item forced us to think about it on a regular basis.
Yeah, yes. I've also been wondering, like, I don't want the general channel to get crazy noisy, but also I was wondering about putting just, how we, like, once a month we have a reminder to add your contributions through the issue template if they're not a code contribution or a PR contribution. I wonder if that's like maybe like in the half month we do a reminder about talks. So it'd be every month, but in like two weeks. Is that too much? John says, is there a way to have a calendar channel in the Slack? Tell me more about that, John. What are you envisioning?
I don't know if Slack has this feature, but in Discord, for instance, they have an ability to create an event that sort of happens at like a particular day or time. You can sort of say like this thing is happening at this time at this location, and it's just sort of visible like anywhere in the server, and so everyone can sort of see what's going on, with the community at any given time. And I'm not super familiar with Slack, so I don't know if it can do something similar, but maybe if it does have that feature, exploring it might be an option.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I have played around, it's been probably a month ago now, with uh Zapier. I don't even know how to say that word. But that and Slack integration, there's a very limited direct integration between TeamUp and Slack. It's like only when something new happens. It doesn't have a way to like check every day what's happening that day. So the Zapier, does anyone know how to say that? Is it Zapier? Zapier?
I've
Nobody
never
knows.
actually, I don't know about that particular service. I'm in the dark about it as well.
That's the
I
problem with
also call it
naming.
Zapier, but that's very German.
Well, and they call them zaps. Like you have a zap that is your action. So that's why I call it Zapier. But it also looks like Zapier. So I don't know. It's a problem with product naming. Lesson be learned to all. Get something somebody can say. Anyway, so I have played with that and it failed miserably. So I have not gone back to it because I'm afraid. But I actually have that on my list this week to resurface it and try again. So to your point, John, bringing the conversation back around, that would be cool because it can also pull from this calendar that we have of upcoming talks. So it could be like, hey, next week or this month, here are the talks for CHAOSS or whatever it is. Like that would be kind of cool, I think. And that would also be a reminder, like if somebody sees that, that would be a reminder, oh, hey, I should add mine, I think too. So, okay, so let's put this here. Reminders in yeah, I think we also need a way for people to easily tell us what they're doing. I don't know what that way is, if it's a Slack message, if it's an issue. It feels like kind of a lot of overhead. Matt, I see you unmuted.
Well, I think just starting out simple is kind of the way to go. So just like a monthly request, and that whole idea of maybe like, what are we going to promote? We probably just can't catch everything, and that's okay. Like right out of the, and we can maybe start building up if this goes well. So like perhaps we were trying to, boil the ocean on our first attempt, like try to catch everything that everybody was doing, and we're like, this is too hard. And so instead we just start with, a few key talks. that we'd like to
Yes.
promote.
Yeah, I think this will also be good. Mary Blessing's not on here, but there's also, been talk of reviving the conversation around CHAOSS ambassadors. So I think that having a process in place will also be helpful for that program as well. So that if a CHAOSS ambassador is out giving a talk about CHAOSS, there's an easy way for us to promote that and track it and count it, so to speak. So, okay, cool. I'm gonna put this in here off weeks. I will know what that means. Maybe later. We'll see if I can decipher my own words. Well, again, and if you all are thinking about this over the course of the week and you have another idea, we could certainly talk about this again next week. I think it's an ongoing conversation, so feel free to drop it in here or in next week's agenda when that gets set, or in Slack, whatever's easiest for you. Any final comments or questions, thoughts before we move on?
Mm.
Okie dokie. So the next one is this conversation, the future of the metrics development group, which has had no comments.
Well, we talked about it at
So,
the last meeting, I think, more than anything.
yeah.
So this issue, I don't think changed at all in the last meeting, in the sense that there just still aren't a lot of people who participate in that meeting. There isn't like the push that we have towards the creation of metrics and metrics models like we had in the past. We're just in a different phase of the project. And this is what we talked about. And anybody who was on the call can kind of nudge me if I'm not quite saying what they remember on the meeting as well. And what we kind of talked about was the phase of the project that we're in now is really thinking about helping people put the metrics and metrics models into practice. So with particular focus on, say, the university working group, data science working group, the OSPO working group, like these are really working groups that aren't focused on creating metrics. Like, in fact, I think if I was to bring up the creation of a metric to the university working group, it may not be real well received. Like, it's just not something that they're really there to do. And I don't think that's why they're joining. But this is where we're having a lot of good impact in the CHAOSS project. So it's taking those 100 metrics that we have and taking those, whatever, say 10 or 15 metric models that we have, and helping people think about how they are applicable in practice. So to that end, it still wouldn't preclude anybody from making a metric or a metric model if it needed to be done, but the work of the working group really wouldn't be focused on meeting to create metrics and metrics models. That's just not what we would be meeting to do. We also think that there's enough people, so for example, myself in university, say Dawn and OSPO, that there are enough people that if we did need to create something, there's somebody representing in those context working groups that kind of knows the process by which a new metric or metric model could be built. So we're pretty happy to just kind of have that work done there as needed. Again, it's probably not something that we want to lead with in those working groups, but there may be times when something needs to be developed and we can just do that work within those respective context groups. Trying to think of what else. I think we talked about the time shift. I kind of forget who was at that meeting, but making the time, so there's still a lot of interest. I'm looking because I think my dog might see a postman coming. So I think there's still a lot of interest in going through the ISO work around the metrics and metrics models, particularly in Asia. So Yahui was there and said that there's a lot of people, well, I don't know a lot, but there's certainly an expressed interest in continuing to make that push. So from where I was kind of feeling like we left off, that the metrics and metrics model working group time would shift to be more friendly to folks in Asia in order to accommodate the conversations, particularly around ISO and the metrics/metric models. Did I remember that right? For the people who were also at that meeting?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
So that's kind of where it is right now, is they're trying to land on a time that works, or
I think so. I haven't
okay.
talked to Yahui since then. And to me, honestly, the creating the metrics and the metrics models as an ISO standard, like we've talked about it, it's a ton of work, and like I didn't have a huge interest in spending that amount of time in that, but apparently people do, which is cool. And it really does seem like the metrics and metrics model kind of working group time would be a perfect fit for making that push. That's taking what we have and just standardizing them. It's perhaps changing some of the content to fit standards, whatever needs to be fit. But that just, it really seems to fit quite well as an activity in the metrics and metrics model working group to me. It's not putting them in new contexts. It's really just, again, standardizing them at an international level.
Would it make sense then to rebrand the group as the ISO group?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I hadn't really thought about that.
I would rebrand it, because otherwise I think people will get confused. And the people who might be interested in ISO standard stuff might not see a metrics meeting as something that they're interested in.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that's,
I love renaming things. I think yes.
I want to change all the links too.
And delete all the, yeah.
I just want to, yeah, let's just delete everything while we're at it. So much cleaner that way.
Matt, do you know off the top of your head when the next group is?
Well, technically it's this week, this Thursday,
Okay.
but I mean, there's really no reason for us to meet. Like, we've all kind of decided that if, say, like something came up in university, like I can handle it there. And if we really need to get input from people, maybe we, I don't know, have an ad hoc meeting, maybe we just do it in Slack, whatever it might be. But honestly, most of us are just sitting there kind of talking about what we should do while we're sitting there and how this group would be most effective. And so I feel like at some point we just have to like get on with it. Yeah.
Okay, so next steps, find a new time.
That sounds similar to the experience that I had with the app ecosystem working group. And yeah, I agree. There's a time to wind it down.
Yeah, right. Time and place for everything. And I mean, we wouldn't be where we're at without the metrics and metrics model working group. I mean, look at all the assets that are on the website. That was a lot of work by a lot of people. And now we're really trying to put them into practice, which is pretty cool. And so, yeah, winding it down, it just, Peculiar, did you have a comment? I saw you were unmuted as well.
No, I don't have a comment. I was just like thinking that at the end of the day, we have now like come down to keeping it down. like we suggested it before. So something has replaced it. That's what I'm saying.
So maybe it's a close this group, open an ISO group.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I guess we've done that too, which was kind of like I mean, we kind of when we did the working groups for the metrics themselves, we kind of had done the same kind of repositioning of closing some of the groups and opening up other ones.
We also could leave the Slack channels open for sure
That's
for
fine.
both of those.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah,
Yep, and just say there's no regular meeting time anymore.
yeah.
And there's going to be a new time to talk about.
It's gonna be occasional.
Mhm.
And there was talk, I remember part of this conversation too in the last metric meeting, that like part of the idea, if you remember, was that we would have folks like us say attend university and kind of listen for new metrics and then bring those ideas back to the metrics working group. And the metrics working group would develop the metric and then like bring it back to the university working group and say, hey, here's what we developed based on what we heard. But that distance just ended up being too great. So like a person would attend one thing, bring it back to another group. The person who originally thought of it in university isn't in the metric working group. We're trying to guess what they wanted in that metric. So the gaps between those two was just too great and we couldn't overcome it. So that's again why we were pushing, like if university needs a new metric or metric model. One of the things I brought up in the university working group was the creation of a practitioner guide. They were very interested in that, and that's something that we could do together. And if a new metric had to be built out of that, we would just do it in that working group or context group.
Yeah, I think that would have also worked better for the app ecosystem working group because we had the list of metrics and we gave them to the metric development group.
Yep.
And then I don't know what really happened with that. I don't think we ever got a single metric out of that list.
Oh, probably not. Probably because we would look at them and be like, I don't know what they mean. So I'm not going to build it.
Yeah.
Or else it's a big long list and it's overwhelming. And then we just kind of shut down because it's like, oh my God, look at all this work we have to do. You know,
Yeah.
it just is
No can do.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of my current suggestion is, yeah, we shut down that meeting, just make an announcement along with in that announcement with the intention of starting up the ISO working group meeting, which is around fostering the metrics and metrics models as needed for ISO standardization. And I don't know if he said he was going to lead that ISO stuff, but just the expressed interest continues to come from that part of the world.
We're getting close to the end of our meeting time. I still would like to talk about the
Yeah, I'm done.
schedule.
Yep, I'm all good. Thank you, everybody.
Do we want to also check on the education working group? Quick update from the first meeting, the kickoff meeting. Peculiar, I think you probably put that on here, or maybe Dawn.
No, I did. Okay. For education working group, we started very well last week. That went well. So exciting to be there. And yeah, our next meeting will be in next week. So next week. Yeah. So from the education working group too, was able to get the summary, the report from what's happening with the courses we developed on Moodle. So I looked through. I was able to get this data for some courses that we have more people viewing them, and people are still viewing still this month, May. Courses like Introduction to Open Source and Collaboration Platform, we have about 19 people. How to start a career in open source, we have about 8. And DIE in open source, about 8. And CHAOSS content working group, about 8. Introduction to CHAOSS, about 8 people. And popular open source project, 7. Open source security, 6. And CHAOSS governance, we have about 6. We have other ones that with lesser people doing them. And I also have one that no one has viewed apart from myself that uploaded the course. That's open source in business. And the new course that I uploaded, I think that was last week. And the topic is Introduction to CHAOSS Matrix. So this is the summary, the report from the courses that have been developed and the people doing them and the number of it. And some other courses are on the way. That some have been recorded and the script have been there and the recording has been concluded because of one reason or the other. So there's a report from the education working group. Yeah, I can add this breakdown on the agenda so it can be viewed. Is that needed?
Thank you, Peculiar. That's awesome. It was a very good meeting. Quick note, before this meeting uploaded that meeting to YouTube, and I created a new playlist, which I did not link yet in the channel, but I will. After this meeting, I will. So it's up there if anybody wants to watch it. Ruth asked if we have a link to the courses on our newcomer Slack bot. That's a good question.
Yes, for that, the link is already bookmarked, and I've raised an issue on Slack, Slack bot repo for them to create a bot for that with a quick guide on how to start CHAOSS, stuff like that. So I've raised an issue there. I've called attention I think Precious to that issue. I'm yet to get or see response or that. And I also raise it up with the development working group to see who can pick it up and work on that. So the issue is already out there. By the time it's implemented, I think we'll see it working. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've just been pointing people to it manually when they would reach out to me and say, what do I do? I'll say, here's what you do. You go here and you go to the quick start. That's what you do. So, thank you so much for all your work here, Peculiar. Amazing, amazing job. I love this so much. Anybody else have questions for Peculiar? No? Okay. CHAOSScon committee, are you able to stay a little bit for a few minutes?
I have maybe 5-6 minutes.
Okay. Okay, everybody else can take off. We'll see you here next week, same time, same place. I will stop the recording, maybe. There it is.
I dropped a question.